The first steam engine was invented in 30 BC, but the first create mod steam engine was invented in 2023, and is the absolute best way to produce stress units in the game. But many players find themselves confused, asking questions like, what is a steam engine? How does it work? And haven't I already made a video on them? I have, but it's a bit old and it has some problems, so today I bring you 2024's ultimate guide on create mod steam engines. So what is a steam engine? Most often when someone says steam engine, they mean the structure behind me, but that's technically not what it is. This is a steam engine, this block. For the purposes of this video, I will too be referring to this as a steam engine. Just know that when you type steam engine into the creative menu, it's a steam engine block, and that all of this nonsense is required to actually use it. So how does all this nonsense actually work? Well, I think the best way to describe it is to build it with you. So follow along or just listen close, and hopefully it'll teach you all the components of a steam engine. Firstly, a steam engine starts with heat. Our steam engine is going to have a base of 3x3, but they could have a base of 2x2 or 1x1. And our choice of heat is the adorable blaze burner. In almost all scenarios, you'll be using blaze burners as well, but you can use other heat sources, which we'll get into later. On top of the blaze burners, you're going to want to put fluid tanks and stack them up 4 high. You'll notice this looks a lot different than what I was showing you earlier. The blaze burners look right, but the tank doesn't. That's because we have to convert it to a boiler by placing the steam engine block on top of it. Now a gauge spawns in, the tanks become opaque, and we get this boiler status menu. For this level of steam engine, we can support 9 steam engine blocks on top of it. And later on, I'll get into why 9 specifically. For now, just know that this size with this many blaze burners, 9's the number. You're going to want to take a shaft and hover over the steam engine block, and when you right-click it, it places it a block out because the shafts need to be a block out from the steam engine. You can even place them going sideways like this if you want to. And if you don't like the way it's rotating, you can hold right-click and change the rotation. So this will rotate this way. Change it to that, it'll rotate that way. And as always, if you put the shaft on wrong, you can always wrench it to change the direction. Steam engine blocks are worthless without shafts, so make sure to put them in. Last thing to complete the multi-block is a water source. I'm going to contain mine in trapdoors because I think it looks nice. Specifically, make sure you have an infinite water source, and then place a pump above the infinite water. These corners aren't infinite, only the center block is infinite, so make sure your pump is facing out from that. You want it to face out with the arrow pointing upwards, and then have a pipe going into your steam engine. And there are the components of a steam engine: heat source, boiler, shaft connections, and water. And there you go, you've made a steam engine. But steam engines aren't the only thing you can make with the help of today's sponsor, Southern New Hampshire University. SNHU offers a complete game design degree designed to help you make video games your career. You'll learn 3 major programming languages, including Java, which is actually the language that Minecraft is written in. But it's not all code. You'll be learning to bring characters and environments to life in both 2D and 3D, as well as the pillars of just what makes good game design, so that the power to shape the future of gaming will be in your hands. And not only that, but you'll be learning from industry experts with real-world experience. So not only will you be graduating with a degree, but you'll be graduating with real knowledge and connections. SNHU is accredited, non-profit, and has insanely affordable tuition to make it as easy as possible for you to realize your game design dreams. Take it from a previous game developer, it is an amazing medium and allows you to flex all of your creative muscles at once as you blend together dozens of beautiful art forms into one stunning project. So why wait to kickstart your career? Go to snhu.edu/djo and fill out the form to receive free information about their degree. And it even supports the channel. Thank you to SNHU for sponsoring this video. So with your steam engine built, you can see we now have this boiler status page. It talks about size, water, and heat. It also says boiler status idle. Now, boiler status is a very important metric because it's going to measure how powerful your boiler is. Technically, there are 20 different levels your boiler can be. It can be idle like this, passive under special circumstances, and go up to max level, which is level 18. A steam engine is idle if it has no heat or no water supply, and then becomes passive when a passive heat is applied to it. Passive heat is anything that doesn't require fuel to burn. So a smoldering blaze burner, campfire, fire, and blaze burner lit with flint and steel all count as passive. Passive steam engines will only ever create 2048 stress units and can only support 1 engine while doing so. No matter how big you make a passive steam engine, it will never make more than 2048 stress units. But it is relatively free to run. The real magic is when you fuel blaze burners beneath it, you get a leveled steam engine. This fella produces 16,384 stress units and spins at 64 RPM instead of 16. As long as your boiler is large enough and you're supplying it it with enough water, each lit blaze burner constitutes one additional level to your boiler. So this boiler is level 4 because it has 4 lit blaze burners and is large enough and has enough water. Here you can see I'm actually oversupplying the water as it's going way past the size and heat. One thing to note is this boiler says it's producing 65,500 stress units, but this is only producing 16,384. That's because the level of the steam engine indicates how many steam engine blocks it can support. The actual boiler doesn't produce any stress units, only the steam engines do. So a level 4 steam engine can completely support 4 steam engine blocks producing 16,384 stress units at 64 RPM. You can add more, but you can see it reduces the stress units per engine block and its speed. The total stress unit output is still 65,536, it's just split across 5 instead of 4, like it wants to be. And of course, when your blaze burners run out, so too does the power of your steam engine. Now, in order to reach level 9 and above steam engines, you do need to have a 3x3 base, and it's usually recommended to do so. But 2x2s are a fantastic option if you don't have a lot of resources, and a 1x1 steam engine is absolutely viable. It just requires 4 fluid tanks tall. Now you might be wondering, DJojo, if the maximum level is 18, but blaze burners only count for 1 level, how do you get to double levels? And of course, it's superheating. A superheated blaze burner counts for 2 levels of steam engine instead of just 1. So if I were to feed these blazes some blaze cakes, what level would this steam engine be? If you said 8, you're wrong. And not because there's only 4 steam engine blocks. A steam engine can be a higher level than it has steam engine arms. This steam engine just isn't big enough. We're giving it enough heat, we're giving it enough water, but the size is the limiter. You can tell because it's the lowest bar. The dark green indicates supply, and the light green indicates what level you're actually at. So this is a level 5 steam engine. Making it larger will help, and you can get a level 8 steam engine with a 2x2 base, but it gets pretty tall. The steam engine does not have to have heat sources under every single part of it, so you can do a 3x3 steam engine like this and heat the blaze burners beneath it like so. If I add a steam engine block, you can see it's got plenty of heat. It just doesn't have water. Another thing to note is that water is not stored within the boiler. The second the water enters the boiler, it's destroyed. So you cannot buffer water inside of a steam engine, which is why it's generally best practice to power a steam engine's water supply separately from the steam engine. Because if these arms overstress, it's going to be a real pain to restart the water. And you did hear me right, it's the arms that overstress, not the steam engine. Take the steam engine here, 65,000 stress units, 16,000 stress units in each of the arms, but they're actually separate generators. Here I'll use a rotation speed controller and some crushing wheels in order to overstress this arm. Boom, overstressed. Except these 3 arms are still going, and it's still producing 65,000 stress units. The steam engine arms don't share stress unit values unless you combine them together with a belt, or chain drive, or any other way that you'd like to combine your stress units. So once I combine all these together into one stress unit network, you'll see it unstresses and keeps on going. Now, shafts that connect to each other this way through the steam engine where they're rotating with each other are considered connected to each other, so that's an easy way to do it. In that regard, you can semi-reliably have a steam engine power itself with a separate arm dedicated to the water supply, but you'd probably have to speed it up. As you can see, we're undersupplying this with water, and frankly, powering a single pump with 16,000 stress units is a bit overkill. So how much water do you actually need? Well, it's 20 RPMs per level. So a big ol' level 18 steam engine requires 360 RPMs of water. And the way that works is to have 2 pumps running at least 180 RPM, so you get a combined 360 RPM. The level 18 is a bit excessive. Mostly you're going to be working in level 9 steam engines, and they of course require 1 pump at least 180 RPM. You can see here we're perfectly supplied, though it's not a problem to oversupply your steam engines with water. Red lines show up, but it remains at level 9. So as a general rule, pump as much water into these as you possibly can. Your steam engines need to be wet, and they've also got to be big. A steam engine requires 4 fluid tanks per level. So level 9 needs 36 fluid tanks, and level 18 needs a colossal 72, which can get kind of expensive on the copper front. But find yourself a dripstone cave and a Fortune 3 pickaxe, and you'll be sorted out in absolutely no time. But how do you actually fuel a blaze burner? Well, they're not picky eaters. If it works in a furnace, it works in a blaze burner. So sticks, logs, coal, eggs. Yep, due to a little Easter egg about Howl's Moving Castle, these little guys love eggs. Fact that I blasted over the internet a few months ago, and I just wanted to clear it up. It's not survival viable. It is a fun project though. In most cases though, I and everyone else would recommend using lava. Not only does lava have an absolutely impressive burn time, but it's also relatively easy to farm. With nothing more than a hose pulley and at least 10,000 source blocks of lava, you get yourself a completely infinite supply of lava. Just as easy as that. And if you're not keen on interdimensional fluid travel, there is the pointed dripstone method. This is a vanilla feature, and if you don't know how it works, it's pretty easy. Source block of lava on top of a block, attach pointed dripstone to it, and a cauldron underneath. Give it some time and you'll get yourself a lava cauldron. There's 1 bucket of lava inside that guy. You can then pump that out into a spout, and it'll fill up your lava. But how do you get your lava from way over there to way over there? Might I suggest a mechanical arm? These guys are very simple and they go directly into blaze burners. Boom, just like that. In fact, they're even smart enough not to waste fuel. So as long as a blaze burner has enough fuel in it, this bucket won't get picked up, and you can even decorate them. What's not to love? So let's build a full lava farm together. We're going to be doing this as though we're powering a level 9 steam engine. Every 1 blaze burner costs about 1.2 of these cauldrons to power. So for level 9, you only actually need 11, but I'm going to do 12 because it just looks nicer. Get yourself a layer of blocks above them. I like to use glass, and then fill the bottom in with pointed drumstone. Make sure to surround your top layer with some kind of block to contain the lava, and then ensure you fill it with entirely source blocks. It has to be source blocks, no flowing. And you should see lava drips coming from all the dripstones. You know what? You actually need this 1 block off the ground, so let me fix that. The reason being, you've got to put pipes underneath all of the cauldrons, and you can see they'll automatically connect. Grab yourself a pump and make sure that it's heading up into a spout. I'd recommend actually having the spout 1 off the ground because we're going to have to do some finagling for this to work. And I'm going to move our fake little steam engine so we have more space to work with. The reason we have 2 depots here is because we don't want a mechanical arm to pick up the empty buckets, only the full ones. So this brass funnel will point into the depot underneath the spout, and it will accept empty buckets. It will then have a brass funnel spitting out from that depot that will accept lava buckets. Now we want the mechanical arm to target all of the blaze burners, target the empty bucket depot, or funnel, actually, and take from the full bucket depot. When you place down your arm, make sure it's close enough to everything. You can see this one's too far away. Boop, there we go. And give him some speed. So we can place a bucket in here and then manually fill the cauldrons to show what happens. Also power your pump, that too. I love how this machine works. It's very elegant. So we're gonna give it 4 buckets of lava. Those are gonna flow into there. The bucket falls down onto this platform, placed in a blaze burner. The mechanical arm then takes the empty bucket and puts it in here, waiting to be filled. Don't have the mechanical arm take or give to this depot at all, otherwise it'll start to cycle itself. It will take a little bit for everything to generate, but eventually, once all the blaze burners are lit, this will do more than enough to sustain. And since the mechanical arm knows how much fuel is in a blaze burner, it won't accidentally overfuel one of these guys instead of fueling these guys. If you want to superheat a blaze burner, you need a blaze cake. Blaze cakes are easy, just lava onto a blaze cake base, but it's not renewable because it requires cinder flour. And cinder flour requires netherrack. In Vanilla Create, netherrack cannot be automated, but there's plenty of it in the nether, so it's not usually an issue. So if you want to get renewable superheating, you need to get some add-ons. You see, everything we've been talking about so far is Vanilla Create, but Create's so popular, it has mods for itself, such as Create Crafts and Additions, which adds a renewable netherrack recipe, or even Create Garnished. And some add-ons even change the way that you approach steam engines. In Vanilla Create, you need either a mechanical arm or a deployer to fuel a blaze burner with lava. The Crafts and Additions adds the straw, which when given to a blaze burner turns it into a fluid tank. It'll consume liquids inside of it and becomes a source for pipes to pump into. So that lava farm we made earlier, you could just pipe directly into the blaze burners. It even adds bioethanol, which is another way to superheat your blaze burners. Garnished adds its own superheating fluid called peanut oil, and even allows you to feed blaze burners your nuts. All around, Garnished is a fantastic mod. Create New Age actually adds a blaze burner replacement. These boiler heaters will do the same job. If you hook these guys up to a nuclear reactor, yep, New Age adds nuclear reactors, and make sure to give it lots of fuel, the nuclear reactor will light up, and you can pump heat out into the boiler heaters and watch as you go all the way up to a level 18 steam engine just like that. And some mod packs might have their own custom recipes that changes everything entirely as well. So steam engines are an amazing thing to experiment with and just get a little crazy about. If Crafts and Additions is installed, you can get this really nice JEI liquid burning page that will show you what liquids will burn in a blaze burner. So you can see biofuel, lava, seed oil, peanut oil. These are all things in this current pack that will burn in a blaze burner. And if your mod pack has quests, hopefully it'll explain its unique quirks. And I really wasn't kidding in the intro. The Aeola pile was a Greek invention and is considered to be the first rudimentary steam engine. Sure, it didn't produce enough power to actually do anything, but it was a pretty big deal. It spun and spun because of heated water. And although we recognize the first steam engine to have been introduced in 1712, that's only the first commercial steam engine. There were plenty of steam-powered devices, like in the 1100s apparently there was an organ powered by steam, and at one point a flooded mine was drained by a steam-powered pump. None of that information will help you with the Create mod, but now you know it.